In today's video, I'm going to talk about why I won't be upgrading to the S1R Mark II from an S5 Mark IIX, and I can also see this applying to someone who might be shooting with an S1H. Let's get into it. Welcome to the wasteland here in Melbourne, Australia. My name's Shane. I hope you enjoy this video. We're going to talk about the S1R Mark II and why I won't personally be upgrading to it, primarily for video, and especially if you're doing this sort of stuff. It's not the right camera for the job, and I'm going to talk about why. Now, in certain situations, it's a killer camera. I'm going to start off by talking about the things that I really loved about using it and why I won't be buying it, and some considerations and things to think about. Now, when it comes to reviews, I'm not a LUMIX ambassador. I do enjoy using them, but I shoot with Sony as well. I've had an FX3, an FX30, an A7S III, the ZV-E1 I currently own, so I use a mix of stuff, but the LUMIX stuff is definitely my favorite. Now, let me preface this video by saying if you've already pre-ordered it or you have it in your hands, it's an excellent camera, and I hope you did your due diligence when it came to, seeing as much of the reviews as you could to get a balanced opinion on it. From looking at other reviews online, there weren't too many people that were either in a hot climate like me or tested it as extensively as I did either. So yeah, this comes from hands-on experience. I'm not just talking out of my ass, so I hope you do find this helpful. We're almost up to 50,000 subs, so if you can, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We've got lots of cool tech, cameras and reviews and all that kind of stuff coming up. So, all right, let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off by talking about what I really loved about the S1R Mark II before we get into the reason why I won't be buying it. So the 8K image quality is sensational. If you're working on a 4K timeline, you can do a 2x punch in. It's really impressive. So it gives you the same flexibility that 4K gave you to standard HD or 1080p, so that's great. But one of the things I didn't really mention on the video is it's a 420 10-bit codec, which means it's nice and easy to edit. I didn't really notice any difference on the timeline, at least on my Mac Studio, compared with 422 10-bit on the timeline in 4K. So yeah, you get the same sort of editing experience, which is something I really can appreciate. While most people won't be delivering in 8K, having the resolution there is fantastic, especially on a 4K timeline. When it comes to my favorite mode in the S1R Mark II, it would be 5.9K with a 16:9 aspect ratio shooting 50p. Man, it was just an absolute pleasure to work with. Again, you're getting more resolution than standard 4K, so you can, again, crop in and do all that kind of stuff without giving you an 8K file. So it allows you to record for longer periods of time. Again, it's a 420 10-bit codec, making it really easy to work with, and then you can slow it down 50% on the timeline. I've also now got an affinity for CF Express Type B card slots. After using one on my GH7 for the first time this year, I'm just really appreciating the fact I can record in all modes directly into a CF Express Type B card, or of course go externally out over SSD. And the file transfer speed, especially to CF Express Type B, is just insane if you're coming from a regular V90 card. Now, another thing I can really appreciate is the 4K at 120 frames per second. It looks beautiful coming off this sensor, and this is coming from someone who's owned an FX3 and A7S III. So if you're into slow motion, it looks really beautiful. But there are some compromises when it comes to the autofocus. As I mentioned in my video, Panasonic let me know that it goes to DFD if you're using the biggest part of the sensor. If you switch over to pixel mode, you get that PDAF back, but it's just one of those small compromises most people I think can live with. It's very responsive in DFD mode, but yeah, again, it might not be ideal for everybody, but it still looks beautiful with minimal crops, which I really like. Obviously, this is a more photocentric camera as it follows the lineage of the S1R. So this is the S1R Mark II that we're talking about, not an S1H Mark II. So it's a high-res sensor, and if you need high-resolution photos or you love using handheld high-resolution mode, it looks really cool. Another thing I should point out too is the autofocus for continuous autofocus for a moving subject was excellent. So if someone's walking towards the camera, you can get a really high hit rate out of the S1R Mark II. That's enough beating around the bush. Let's talk about why I won't be purchasing the S1R Mark II for my particular use case. And it has absolutely nothing to do with rolling shutter. Rolling shutter is not a problem unless you're looking for it. The viewers don't care. It's just the fact of the matter. Most people who are shooting in a filmmaking scenario aren't going to be too concerned with rolling shutter unless they're looking for the best possible performance for fast action and all that kind of stuff. But if you're shooting weddings or if you're doing stuff like this, it's not a problem. I hardly noticed it unless I was really looking for it in test results. So yeah, it is what it is. You can make your mind up whether or not rolling shutter is a huge problem for you. But the biggest problem I have with the S1R Mark II was the overheating performance. Now, some people are touting that, I can record for this X amount of time. That's probably true. But in my test case, where I tested it in the studio, outside in the field during summer, it was completely unreliable for my needs, which is a big, hard no for me to buy it. Even on a day like today, I would no doubt see the overheating warning message. Now I've got this top on right now, but I could probably wear a t-shirt. It's somewhere around 23 degrees Celsius, which is the same sort of temperature I tested the S1R Mark II in the studio, where it overheated shooting in 4K at 25 frames per second. If I ramped it up to 50p, it would overheat sooner. These are sort of things that I don't want to have to think about if I'm shooting long form recording. Now, if you're not shooting in that situation, this camera is awesome. So don't think it's a crap camera because it doesn't suit my particular needs. Everyone's got different needs, and this is something that I'm more aware of these days. So it's a killer camera for someone who might be doing short, sharp clips here and there with video, who wants arguably the best image quality you can get. But for long form recording and YouTubers and people hooking it up to an external monitor or power supply at the same time, it's going to overheat. Eventually it will. It's a bit like how the G9 Mark II works. It's fine in most shooting scenarios, and then if you hook it up to an external monitor, plug in USB-C, you can get it to overheat a little sooner. So yeah, I just want to put this out there because I felt like as of right now, there's a lot of other videos going up saying, oh, this is replacing the S5 Mark IIX. Is it replacing the S1RII? No, it's a different option for a different user. If you're an S1RII owner, odds are you're very comfortable shooting with manual focus. If you're an S5 Mark IIX owner, odds are you're very comfortable shooting within some of the crops and limitations. And for me, the trade-off of overheating at a price point like the S1R Mark II is, for my shooting situation, doesn't make it a viable option for me. Now, I got to test it in summer. I wasn't in Norway or in Canada or North America where it was wintertime at the time of release, or still very cold. It was really hot here and it was just unusable. I also was able to get it to overheat in the studio. So there's a few considerations with this camera that don't make a lot of sense for me. The last critique I have with the S1R Mark II is that the battery life isn't very good, and the higher resolution you go and the higher frame rates, the worse it's going to get. I did all of these tests in my video, and if you want to watch that out, I'll link it up in the cards. I still stand by all those tests. They're the best that I could do in the time that I had. And yeah, it's not a camera that I would want to take out to an event without bringing a whole bunch of extra batteries. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Again, I think I went through 3/4 of one Sony battery in my ZV-E1 when it was running continuously in the background, shooting 4K 25p. And I was already up to my second battery on the S1R Mark II. So yeah, it is what it is. You can make your mind up whether or not this is for you or not. And if it is, it's a fantastic camera. But for me, I'm gonna give it a miss and see what comes in the future. Thanks for watching.